Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article says status quo on petrol. The article here is speaking about why petrol prices are very high in India, what are the possible reasons to it, and why petrol or the fuel was not included under the ambit of the GST. We had the Goods and the Service Tax Council which had recently met up. They did discuss about whether the petrol should be included in the GST bracket or not. After due discussions and deliberations, they've decided that petrol and fuel will not be part of the GST bracket. Now the question is, why is it not included under the GST bracket? Why are the prices of petrol and fuel items very costly in India? Let us try and understand them. When you ask the government why is that there is a very high petrol price, the government goes on to say that it is because of the rising international crude oil prices. Yes, to a larger extent, this is what happens whenever you see the price rise of petrol or diesel taking place in India. It is because of the rise in the international value of petrol or diesel. But in the present situation, what we are actually witnessing is not because of the rise of the international crude prices, but instead it is because of the taxation imposed by the government of India as well as by the respective states. When we look into India importing oil from multiple countries world over, about 80% of it is imported from the international market, which is why international prices may fluctuate according to the vagaries of the international market. But in the present situation, it is the central government, it is the state government which is imposing a lot of taxation in India on the fuel prices, which is why what we are seeing is exorbitant prices of petrol and diesel in major cities in India. In fact, when you consider the international market few months ago, there was a drop in the demand as well, and this is when the drop of the petrol prices had also taken, but then the governments did not transfer this to the customers, which means it is the taxation imposed by the central and the state governments which is keeping the prices of petrol and diesel at a higher level. Why is that the central government and the state government not bringing the petrol under the ambit of the GST? That is because they are apprehensive that they will lose a lot of money. When you consider for the year 2020 and 21, both the central government and state governments together were able to receive about 6 lakh crore to the central and the state exchequers combined in 2020 and 21. If they bring it under the GST, the maximum taxation that they can impose is about 28%, which is the highest in the GST bracket, which means they will lose out on the revenue front. In fact, when you consider the petrol prices right now, it is more than 100% of taxation that is being imposed. They are able to fetch a lot of revenue as well. They are able to fill their coffers as well. If it is bought under the bracket of the GST, they would not be able to initiate a process of taxation greater than 28%. They can bring the changes as well, but as of now, the existing one, the maximum is 28%, so they're not bringing it under the GST because they want more revenues that they can extract from the petrol prices. Added to this, we've also been facing the heat of COVID-19 as well, and because of COVID-19, the government had to spend a huge amount of money on the social services like the health and other equipment, which is why the government does not have much of revenue. So the only source of revenue which is getting them lot of money is the petrol. So the taxation that is imposed on the petrol and diesel will ensure that there is free flow of money to the coffers of the central government as well as the state government. Added to this, we also have the state governments which are losing the money with the implementation of the GST. So one of the areas where they would be able to tax is the petrol, where it is getting them some money. So they would not want to give up on this particular power and ensure that this power goes to the GST Council, which is why what we have is the government's reluctance and resistance to ensure that this petrol or diesel is brought into the bucket of GST. But there is criticism that is following as well. We have the opposition political parties, we also have the RBI as well, which is in favor of putting down or dropping the prices of petrol so that this is ultimately given to the customers. So the customers who currently are buying a lot of products would be able to save the money, and they would be able to use this money for developing or buying other products which ultimately will have growth in the economy as well. even if it is bought under the GST bracket, they may also bring changes in the percentage, and ultimately they may also tax petrol prices at more than 28% as well. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about the Quad partnership. There are about two articles in the Hindu today. One says Quad to counter Afghan origin terror. The other says Quad leaders draw up tech plan. Let's discuss this as part of one single issue. When we consider the COVID-19, it happened in 2019 in the month of November. It did happen prior to that as well, but it was only restricted to China. But after in November, the peak of COVID-19, what was endemic to China, started spreading to different continents and countries as well. So once we had the peak of COVID-19 virus, which was the industry which was most hit, it was the health industry. Added to this, the manufacturing industry was also hit. Why? Because most of these manufacturing products were being manufactured in China. Because there were lockdowns that was imposed in China, all the manufacturing items that was supposed to be exported from China to other countries were not exported on time. The active pharmaceutical industries, the semiconductor technology that is required, and other basic equipment that was required was not transferred, was not sent from China to other countries. So during this particular period, the countries world over realized that you cannot always rely on China. So what did countries do? They wanted alternative sources where the manufacturing happens. Countries were thinking that it has to be Vietnam, it has to be India, it has to be multiple other countries as well. After due deliberations and discussions, we had Japan, Australia and India coming up together, and they also created a supply chain initiative as well. In the present situation, you also have the Quad countries, which includes US, Japan, Australia and India, who have come together and wanted to ensure that there is supply chain which is not interrupted, even if there is a natural catastrophe or it is a man-made catastrophe, such that the important equipment, the manufacturing items and other supply chain ingredients are not only restricted from China to other countries, but there is free flow of these products from multiple other countries. So what are the Quad leaders doing? They are discussing to ensure that there is free flow of equipment not only from China but also from other countries as well. This is one part. Apart from this, China, if it wants to demotivate other countries, if it does not want to send other items to the countries in the name of trade war, can also ensure that it does not transfer these equipments and important items to other countries. It has done it in the past as well. This is in the form of trade war in order to control the dominance, the hegemony of China. These countries now have come together to initiate a supply chain logistical partnership whereby countries will come together. These countries will operate in such a manner that the important manufacturing goods will be exported not only from China but from other countries. This is one part of the story. The other part is about Taiwan. What is happening in Taiwan? Taiwan dominates the world when it comes to the semiconductor manufacturing. It also manufactures number of nanochip materials as well. It is also supplying a lot of semiconductor requirements to the world as well. But of late, it is also finding a lot of difficulty in manufacturing. Why? That is because China is not allowing it. That is because there are large scale cyber attacks initiated by China, and China has also been violating the Taiwanese airspace as well. So what we have is an indirect conflict between China and Taiwan, which could also result in supply chain bottlenecks. In order to ensure that that does not happen, we have the Quad countries which have now come together. They want to manufacture these semiconductor led technologies, equipment, so that they not only depend on Taiwan, not only depend on China, but there are other areas which is able to supply them these semiconductor equipments and chips on a periodic time scale. India likewise had also offered incentives to multiple countries world over so that they come up and set up the fabrication units in India, set up the semiconductor manufacturing units in India, so that we would be able to consume it, one for the domestic purposes, the other for the international purposes, where this can be used for the exports as well. So therefore, Now we have these Quad countries who have come up together, issued a joint statement whereby they will be developing the technological sector, the semiconductor sector, so that they don't have to rely upon China. This is one part. Then there is another part as well. When you consider the Chinese activities, it is also said that some of the equipments like the Huawei or some other materials that are used in China, built in China and sent to some other country can also be used for surveillance as well. So the data that is fetched from each equipment will also be sent to the Chinese Communist Party as well. These are the fears that is happening. So in order to cater to the privacy, in order to make sure that the authoritarian surveillance and operation does not take place, such information is not transmitted from one country to another, they're not misusing and abusing the data. The joint statement currently says that they would want to focus on standard development of the tech-based manufacturing entities and also advance the communication, develop new artificial intelligence tools so that there is standard research that takes up, and this research can be used by all these countries. This idea of the Quad countries will ultimately impact the Chinese authoritarian regime. How? Back when you consider the 3G and the 4G, India did allow multiple Chinese companies to operate in India. In fact, contracts were also awarded to the Chinese telecom firms as well. Now, these countries like Australia, Japan, India, USA, in fact, United Kingdom as well, are not allowing companies of Chinese origin like Huawei to operate in their countries. So, who will be the major sufferer? It will be the Chinese telecom companies, and as a result, the Communist Party of China may face the heat from their companies, says this article. In fact, the article also speaks about the Afghan crisis as well. What is that this article speaks about the Afghan crisis? In the joint statement, the Quad leaders declared that they would want to coordinate on the diplomatic level, economic level, human rights policies level so that the humanitarian cooperation is catered to as per the resolution of United Nations Security Council of 2593. What is this United Nations Security Council resolution? This is about ensuring that there is peace in Afghanistan, making sure that its land is not used as a launch pad to conduct terrorist activities, and also denying any logistical, financial, or military support to other terrorist organizations operating from Afghanistan. So basically, what this article speaks about is that the Quad countries will come together to ensure that Afghan crisis is also broken and there is no use of Afghan land to initiate terrorist activities against other country. Then they've also come up with one of the infrastructural partnership as well. The Quad countries are now planning to develop new infrastructural partnership. This will also go in line with the Blue Dot network. What is this Blue Dot network? You have countries like United States of America, Australia, and Japan who come together. They wanted to counter the Chinese assertion when it comes to the One Belt One Road initiative. So what do? They come up with one of the certification called as the Blue Dot certification. What is it? In case any country is planning to launch an infrastructural program, then such standard infrastructural program will be provided by these countries. So currently we have the Quad, which will also tie up with the Blue Dot network and ultimately will counter the One Belt One Road initiative. As of now, you have China, which is building number of infrastructural projects in Sri Lanka, in Afghanistan, in Africa, and in fact in South America as well. So these projects in the near future may be taken over by the Blue Dot network, where it will be a certification, a standard, a fixed path leading to infrastructural development, which will be developed by these countries as well as their policies. So the Blue Dot network, which was already initiated by these three countries, will now tie up with Quad as well so that the infrastructural developmental projects can be developed, and ultimately the economic dominance of China is also curbed, says this article. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says, why has India agreed to resume vaccine export? When we look into the COVID-1, after the COVID-1, India was able to cater to the development of vaccine. We had Covaxin, which was completely indigenously developed. Then we also had the Covishield, where we had the Serum Institute of India, which was able to have a contract with AstraZeneca of Oxford, and ultimately we were able to develop two important vaccines. Immediately, India had what is called as the vaccine Maitri. This vaccine Maitri is also called as the vaccine diplomacy. So what was happening? You had Indian developed vaccines which was being exported to multiple countries like Brazil, Sri Lanka, Nepal, so on and so forth. And over a period of time, India was able to generate goodwill because of the vaccine Maitri. And India had also promised that it would also supply these vaccines as part of the COVAX program. What is this COVAX program? This is where the vaccines developed from multiple countries world over will be sent to the low income countries so that they can also give vaccines to their people. So you had the worldwide initiative coming together like the Gavi Alliance, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, the World Health Organization, Bill Gates Association, all of them coming together so that the vaccines developed in one country like in India, like in many other countries, are all collected and export to the low income countries as well as the African countries. But this was not successful. Why? That is because when you consider the second wave, India had detrimental consequences. After our first wave, we were able to give vaccines, one to the healthcare workers, then to the people above 60 years of age, then we also brought it to 45 years of age as well, and initially we opened it up to all sections of the society who are above 18 years of age. But that is when India failed to execute its promise of exporting vaccines in the form of vaccine Maitri. Why? Because the second wave had detrimental consequences for India. Large number of people lost their lives as well, and India also lost large number of people during the second wave. So during that period, after the second wave started, India had to stop its exports of vaccines from India to other countries and also as part of the COVAX initiative as well. But now India is able to manage it because the production of the vaccines have increased. There is a steady decline in the new cases. Severity of the disease is also decreasing. Number of people who have been administered the vaccines are also increasing as well. One, there are people who have been given one doses, then there are people who have been given two doses as well, where they have completed their dosage of the vaccine. So because we have all these advantages now in the present situation, and because we also feel that there will be excess supplies with India, India is planning to initiate exports of vaccines to multiple countries world over. So why is India planning to export? That is because there has been a stabilization. We have had enough reserves in our kitty. We also have the responsibility of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is why India is planning to initiate vaccine export in the present situation. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. This article says opposition demands greater transparency over PM CARES fund. What is this PM CARES fund? We have the COVID-19 which hit India. Most of the people were suffering because of the COVID-19. They had lost their jobs, they had lost their livelihood means and mechanisms, they also lost their near and dear ones as well. In order to help all of these people, we have the Prime Minister of India who initiated one of the funds called as the PM CARES fund. People started donating. In fact, the government of India's servants also started donating one day of their salary as well. So it means that there was voluntary contributions made by the people and also from the government employees to this particular fund. So there was a right to information plea asked with respect to the PM CARES fund. Where is this fund being used? For what it is being used? How much is being used? So there was a plea with respect to the right to information to give information about the PM CARES fund. But then this particular plea was immediately rejected with a note saying that PM CARES fund does not fall under the right to information as it is not a public authority. So the Delhi High Court was hearing a petition asking the fund to be declared as a public authority under the right to information. Now The center has told the Delhi High Court that the PM CARES fund was not a fund of the government of India. This is where the opposition political parties have questioned the move of the government of India. Why are the opposition political parties demanding for greater transparency? We have the government of India websites of multiple ministries. We also have the national portal india.government.in, which also carried links for the people to donate to the PM CARES fund. So all these websites are from the government of India's perspective. So according to this particular idea, it means that government of India is seeking funds as well. So if government of India is seeking funds, government of India falls under the public authority. Ideally, it should have been part of the public authority and should have given information as part of the right to information. But since they are not giving information about the activities of the PM CARES fund, which is why opposition political parties are now asking the government to showcase why should they not be under the right to information, since it was the government of India's website which were giving the ads on the official website, and since it goes to the PM CARES fund, prime minister name is being used. Since prime minister is the public authority, he is elected by the people of the country, which is why this information will have to be given to the people. This should come under the right to information, says the opposition political party. We will have more editorials and columns in the near future. We will take them up and have an elaborate discussion once again. Now let's look into the mains practice questions. Examine the possible reasons for rise of fuel prices in India and discuss why it is not under the ambit of GST. Is it possible to end China's control of the global supply chain? Critically analyze. So please write all your answers on the comment section. Peer review. Do give positive feedback to your friends' answers. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.